That's good to know. And economic challenges are the common refrain. But according to one report, bold climate action could trigger $25 trillion in economic gains by 2030. So do countries not know enough about how they benefit, or are they just reluctant to make the switch?
I think Andre made a very valid point. In the transition to the new economy, new resources would have to be are required. In a democratic system, the wish of the majority of people to move into a higher level of economic prosperity, to move into middle class, it's an aspiration that calls for fulfillment. And the issue here is striking a balance between economic growth and managing the environmental impact of that growth. Because all human activities, all human economic activities will have in one way or another waste and emission to it. It could be plastic, it could be carbon, it could be in many forms. One of the underlying problem, I believe, is at the philosophical level. When we talk about economy, we talk about growth. When we talk about the environment, we talk about environmental preservation. But somehow, at the very philosophical level, we have not managed to link the both. I think it reminds me of what Mahatma Gandhi said, that the world is enough for everybody, enough resources for everybody, but it's not enough for one man's greed. So it is managing this human need in a sustainable way. And when we talk about resources, we talk about emission, we talk both on land and in the ocean. Indonesia, you see, is 2/3 ocean. And our ocean is part of the global conveyor belt. So actually, Indonesia feels a major impact of climate change, not only of our own waste and emission, but also from around the world. A lot of the plastic waste actually ends up in Indonesian waters and Indonesian shores. So we have taken a number of steps to mitigate, at least within our national boundaries. We have a national action plan on marine plastic debris. We are protecting our natural marine resources. So we have banned foreign fishing vessels into Indonesian waters in the past 5 years. So the biomass, marine biomass in Indonesia has actually returning to the normal levels. And a number of steps that we are taking to protect our own interest and the economic interest of the people, but keeping in mind also our global commitments.
Yes. The problem, as you very rightly said, is at a philosophical level. The problem, I think, is also to convert the naysayers and to get them to admit that this is a problem that needs to be addressed. According to a Morgan Stanley report, North America alone lost $415 billion in the last 3 years because of climate disasters. And yet you have some leaders in the region who believe climate change is a hoax. So how do you get action when there is not conviction?
Well, I see that global consensus has not come as quickly as it should have. From the 60s, when the first reports were committed to the Club of Rome, and then in the 80s to the United Nations climate bodies, evidence has been growing, but many, not just countries, I mean people, scientists, companies have been in denial for quite a long time. But what I see now is that besides those exceptions that you mentioned, the overwhelming majority of the international community is very much in agreement on what the causes are of recent climate severe events, the rising of temperatures both in the atmosphere and the oceans. And the good news is that this consensus is much stronger than we tend to think. We have now the Paris Agreement of 2015, where it is very clearly said that it's not a matter of rich countries, poor countries having different tasks in addressing this issue. Is something that is calling for action on any one of us, and we have an action agenda. It's not just a diagnosis. We just have as the Brazil's ambassador said, the 2030 agenda, which is comprehensive, all-encompassing, so all aspects of the transformation of human life are taken into consideration, not just climate. I mean, the 13th Sustainable Development Goal relates very, very closely to climate, but the other 16, in a way, address all the aspects that are involved in this massive transformation of our life that we are about to enter. I mean, it's just the way we eat, the way we produce the food we eat, the way we go from one place to the other. So I would also sound an optimistic note and say, well, I mean, consensus is really, really now big, and the agenda is very clearly cut, and many countries are already taking action. I mean, Spain is an example, not just because we have hosted this 25th COP at short notice, is because the action plans at the national level, at business level, at city level are being drawn and implemented. I think all of you are witness of actions that have changed upside down the entire outlook of a city, a river, a region in a positive way. So, I mean, we should look much less.